Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. This is Paul, the Redneck Thinker. Thomas Jefferson said, "If you want something you've never had, you must be willing to do something you've never done." Benjamin Franklin said, "Without continual growth and progress, such words as improvement, achievement, and success have no meaning." Basically, get off your duff, get to working, you've got dreams, you've got goals, you've got to do what it takes to get them. Like, subscribe, comment, show what your opinion is. Let me know if you like what you've seen. And I thank you for your support. So, I've been listening and reading and hearing all these folks talk about that they're anti-Zionist. They're against Zionism. And one person said that they were worried that no matter who became president, that a Zionist would become the person, there would be Zionists in charge. Okay, so why are you worried about this? Seriously, Zionism. Let me give you a quick definition. Zionism is the movement for self-determination and statehood for the Jewish people in their ancestral homeland, the land of Israel. The vast majority of Jews around the world feel a connection or kinship with Israel, whether or not they explicitly identify as Zionist, and regardless of their opinions on the policies of the Israeli government. Okay, so it's a movement for self-determination and statehood for the Jewish people. These are the people that have literally been beaten down on around the world. They wanted to go back to Israel. That was what the movement was. That is what Zionism is. The move for Jews to be able to go back to Israel. So you're against Jews who have always been in Israel, by the way. There's always been Jews there. It's just that the majority of them got forced out. But there were still quite a few that got to stay. So you're against them being back in their homeland. That's what you're saying. You support Hamas, you support Hezbollah, you support Iran, you support every terrorist organization that is Muslim in this world. That is what you're saying. Okay, that confuses me. But, you know, I'm old and put upon, so I don't always understand you young folks. But let's take a look at a few things. Let me show you a video here from, her name is Noah Tishby.
You know that only 31% of Israelis actually define themselves as of Eastern European descent, and all the rest are actually Middle Eastern descent. You're talking about the indigenousness of Israel. Do you understand that when you're saying Jews are white, have you been to Israel?
You people don't have respect.
It's not you people. Don't discriminate. I'm a person. My name is Noah. It's not you people. Wait a second. Have you been to Israel?
No,
okay, great, awesome. So when you go to Israel, I get it. Do you believe? But do you believe that the Jews have a right for self-determination as a state, in a state?
Yes, of course.
Okay, great. So you do believe that Israel has the right to exist?
Of course.
Great. Then you are a Zionist. Welcome. Sorry. Don't be angry. It's true.
Noah does a great job there. Noah's great. And that guy looks very constipated ideologically.
So, since October 7th, you've got a whole bunch of people that are standing there going, "Well, I support the Jews, but I don't support Zionism. I'm not anti-Semitic." Yes, you are. Because if you don't support the one nation in this world that has proven that they will defend the Jews, don't tell me America's made that statement, because it was a lie in World War II. World War II proved how we treated the Jews. Henry Ford proved how we treated the Jews. This world has treated the Jews horribly. They wanted back into their homeland. They were actually working on it before World War I. They were buying back land. The Ottoman Empire had all this empty land because all the Muslims were leaving. The folks that are claiming to be Palestinian are the Muslims that came to the Jews and said, "We're starving, we have no jobs, will you please help us?" You think I'm joking. Look into history. All the Muslims were leaving Israel because they couldn't make a go of it. There were some Muslims there, yeah, but not the extent that it became. And then after World War I, England took over, the British took over, and they sided with the very anti-Semitic Muslims that were there. The Muslims kept trying to kill the Jews that were there, trying to take their land, and the Jews were having none of it. And this is a modern day thing. Saying the history of what is going on in this world. This is a modern day thing that you're hearing about because it was worse even before then. You're talking about the Catholic Church tried to wipe them out. The Eastern Orthodox churches were at least a little nice to them. But then you got the Russian Orthodox Church. Yeah, you need to look up the word pogroms. Pogroms. If you have never heard of the pogroms, you need to look them up. Inquisition. Take a look at the first people that were killed by any crusader. Very first crusade, the first people to be killed in the first crusade, Jews. This is what have been done to the Jews, and yet folks keep complaining, "Oh, I'm anti-Zionist, I'm not anti-Semitic." Yes, you're anti-Semitic. But let me show you. Thankfully, there are a few folks. Let me show you another video real quick here of what's going on. There are folks that are starting to realize that they need to quit supporting these They're not Palestinians. They aren't. They're not the descendants of the Muslims that stayed there. They're the descendants of the Muslims that came back and tried to take what the Jews were building. That's all they are. I'm tired of hearing Palestine. That's the name of a region. Because when the Roman Empire took it over, they called it Palestine because, well, they were trying to take the identity and turn everybody in the region Roman. That's what Palestine is. It was never the name of a country. Calling yourself Palestinian, hey, I'm a Tennessean. That's basically what they're saying. So you're defending them saying that they're a non-consequential region of nations that don't exist anymore. That's what they're calling themselves. They're not Palestinian. They're living on Israeli soil now. They're violent criminals and terrorists living on Israeli soil while trying to take over the government of Israel. They were given their own land. They were told, hey, you rule that however you want to rule it. And they used that land that they were given to attack Israel. That's what's going on right now. You're anti-Zionist, okay? So you're you're pro-terrorist. That you're not pro-Palestine. You're pro-terrorist. There is no Palestine was never not free. Palestine has always been something that it's an imaginary thing now. These people weren't Palestinians at any point. These are the people that came back begging for jobs, begging for food from the Jews. And while they were doing that, they were also siding with Hitler. No joke. Historic facts. The folks that you're calling Palestinian were the folks in that region that teamed up with the SS, with the Germans, with Hitler. And don't say, oh, the Nazis weren't the Germans. Yes, they were. You take a look at those rallies. How many people were there at those rallies? Don't tell me that they're not. Don't tell me that the folks that you call Palestinian aren't terrorists. Because they stay there. They can leave. Okay, they can't go to Egypt. They can't go to any Muslim nation, but they can leave. They stay there to be human shields. They know that they're going to be human shields, and so they stay there. But hey, you keep up your dream. But let me show you this. I'm going to show you what thankfully some people are actually doing in this country to people who support terrorists.
13 federal judges have written a letter saying that they will never hire anybody from Columbia, either law school or undergrad, until certain demands are met. Those demands are they want the participants in any protests doxxed so that they can tell who was involved. They also want some vague promises of value neutral. I don't quite understand their argument there. Their argument seems to be they want Columbia to treat conservative protests as nicely as they did the pro-Palestinian protest, given that they called the NYPD on that protest. Weird.
So the picture above this is, or the picture that you're seeing is that of Segwai. I hope I am not butchering this poor man's name. Segwai Dekel-Chin. Let me read a little bit about him. He's an American citizen that is being held by Hamas. On August 2015, at the height of summer, we arrived. Okay, this was written by a lady by the name of Tamara Behrens. We arrived in Israel to paint a performing arts school, Bikram, also known as The Village, was established the previous year in the Eskil region of Israel, minutes from Gaza. The residential school was founded to give talented young musicians opportunities for excellence close to home. Before The Village, budding musical artists from southern Israel had to travel long distances to Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. Now they would receive world-class education in the country's breadbasket. The Village was first conceived in 2010 with the hard work and some help from the Jewish National Fund UK. It became a reality. The school acquired a building in an abandoned regional boarding school. They recruited a director, Tamer Kedem Simon Tav. Dear Lord, I'm butchering names today. Tamar Kedem Simon Tav. An idea had come to life. This was my first time in such a remote place. I grew up in and had lived up to this point in London, and a far cry from the familiarity of Israel's major population centers. In the Negev, if you want something done, you build it yourself. Segwai Dekel-Chin, son of the village's co-founder Jonathan Dekel-Chin, had done just that, renovating the first site of the school, working with his hands shortly after finishing his service in the Israeli army. Seguy was raised 10 minutes drive in the paradise in the desert of Kibbutz near Oz. Okay. A wealth sharing community where the family had lived since 1990. Okay, so here's an American citizen that, yes, he was raised over there, but he's still considered an American citizen, and he's still held by Hamas. This is one. Let me. There are 8 total. I'm not going to go over all 8, but you're going to hear about these folks. This next person is Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, who was abducted from a music festival in southern Israel on October 7th, 2023. In April, Hamas released a hostage video of him, who was born in Berkeley, California. So here's somebody, you might complain about Dekel Chin, but Goldberg Pollen was born here. And this is one of Hamas's hostages. So we're going to allow here's another one. So we've got now his mother is requesting that the fighting stop, but sad part is that what use is it to stop fighting until you get rid of the terrorist? And I mean, it's not like America's actually doing anything for American citizens. That's the silly part of this. This American citizen was taken hostage, and what is the American government doing? So let's take a look at the next one. Okay, so this is Keith Siegel. I'm going to read part of an article. This was written by Jane Gavin. When I first met Keith Siegel, he was the last of 4 siblings still at home. He was in high school, and I remember him pedaling off early in the morning. I was in a different world, graduate school, and was renting a room from his parents as I needed a quieter place for writing my dissertation than the graduate dorm. Keith was reserved like his father Earl, a father of maternal and child health. His mother Gladys was lively, and she had been a nurse and now was busy with creating batik garments and attending board activities at Beth El Synagogue in Durham, North Carolina. I became like a member of the family. So here's a person that was raised in Durham, North Carolina. That's a southern boy. And on October 7th, an estimated 100 members of the Kfar Aza community were killed. Keith and his wife Aviva were driven into Gaza in their own car, taken captive along with their neighbors. Aviva was released in November along with 100 women, children, and non-Israelis as part of a 10-day truce. She said that Keith's ribs had been broken during their capture, but that she was with him until the day she was told she was being sent home. This is what you're supporting. When you say that you are anti-Zionist, this is what you're supporting. You're supporting these people being taken hostage. He was taken from his home. He's an American citizen, raised in Durham, North Carolina. He's got a niece. He's got a wife. You folks are supporting these people being taken hostage. Don't say you're not, because you are. There comes a point where you have to defend your home, and that is what Israel is for. It's to allow the Jews to gather together to defend themselves. And people like Keith Siegel and people like Seguy Dekel Chin, people like Hirsch Goldberg Pollen, they do not deserve to be taken hostage by terrorists that you're defending. And this is what being anti-Zionist is. Look, you can disagree with me all that you want. Go right ahead. But we used to, in this country, go after terrorists. For some reason, we don't do that anymore. We support the terrorists in this country anymore. I don't. I know of quite a few others that don't. But for some reason, it's become policy in this country to support terrorism. I don't know when we switched over to that. I don't understand why we switched over to that. That needs to end. You need to quit calling yourself anti-Zionist. Just start calling yourself anti-Semitic. You might as well, because that's what you are. Because you're supporting folks not having a right to defend themselves against terrorists, not be able to defend themselves against Nazis, not to be able to defend themselves against Soviets, against Russians, against Poles. Yes, all of these people try to kill Catholics. All of these people try to kill Jews in the past. There comes a point where you go, either you want them to be free and alive, or you want them dead. If you start screaming from the river to the sea, you want them dead, and I know where you stand. If you say that you are anti-Zionist, I know where you stand. You've got a choice. If you want people free, okay, fine. Palestine is free. They're using their freedom to attack the Jews because they want, from the river to the sea, these people who have this imaginary thing in their head that Palestine was something, is exactly that. Palestine was a region, a state, so to speak. For us Americans, it was a state. Wasn't a nation state. No, it was a region state, as in Tennessee, Ohio, Idaho, Montana. It was a state. Israel is a nation. The Jews had to fight for it. Owen, they don't just fight for themselves. The Druze have a strong presence there. The Druze fight in the Israeli military. There are Muslims that fight in the Israeli military. There are Christians that fight in the Israeli military. All of these people live there. These are Israelis. They defended their nation. There are Americans that go over there and they join the Israeli military because they know that the Israeli military is where their home is, whether they're American or not, because these people are drawn to their homeland. It's like all of these folks that fly all of these flags that aren't American because they say, hey, that's my home. Well, then why don't you go back? Well, a lot of Jews actually do go to Israel and they join the military. They spend time in Israel. They also spend time here. It's what makes this country great because of what the good things that Israel has done for the world, that people continuously say, oh, but they're an apartheid state. No, they're not. It's the exact opposite. These so-called Palestinians, these folks that are keeping a dead nation's region alive, they're the ones that are wanting to commit the genocide. They're the ones wanting to commit apartheid. Israel is a nation of not just Jews, it's a nation of the world. You can hate on me, whatever, but quit calling yourself anti-Zionist. You're anti-Semitic. You're anti-Jew. You might as well decide that you want to join sides with Hitler, with the Ayatollahs, with so many of the bad guys. But then again, though, FDR was the same way. Winston Churchill was the same way. Neither one of them wanted Jews in their nation. Hitler didn't, definitely. But then again, though, Winston Churchill and Margaret Sanger were part of the same eugenics group that ended up going over to Germany and teaching the Germans how to be better at it, at eugenics. This is the world that we live in. This is what it means to be anti-Zionist. You don't have to like me. I don't care if you like me. I'm going to tell you the truth no matter what. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let you go for the day. Comment. You don't have to like the video to... This wasn't a video that was made to be liked. I am probably going to get a hate for this video, which I hope I do. It lets me know who the anti-Semites are, those that want to kill Jews are. So, this is Paul, Redneck Thinker. Have a good day.